A very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. Wednesday, May 28th, 2025, almost at the end of May. Wow. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Clouds this morning, showers developing by afternoon, maybe a peak of sun until then. Highs in the low to mid 60s. Head to meteorologist Mike Favetta now, the first check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken, and what a May it has been. Very wet, very cloudy at times, but we've also had some bouts of sun. Well, today we're back to the clouds and already the rain falling across most of southern New Jersey. That rain kind of splitting the state in two. If you're south of Trenton, it's been pouring since just after midnight. Northern sections of the state just have the clouds, but the rain is on the way, and that's the case today with that light rain falling, keeping the temperatures across southern New Jersey about 5 to 7 degrees cooler than where they sit across northern New Jersey. But everybody taps into the cooler weather today once that rain settles in, and likely will in the next few hours. As far as temperatures go, we're running a little bit milder than yesterday up north. The rain coming down, so the dew points will rise today as the air becomes more saturated, and currently visibility just a little bit less down where the rain is falling, anywhere between 5 to 8 miles. As far as this afternoon, as that wind begins to blow from the east, currently those breezes are light, but it picks up throughout the afternoon, pushing in that cooler wind off of the water, anywhere from 17 to 23 miles per hour, making it feel much cooler today. And then a little bit of a breeze shift tomorrow actually brings back some sunshine by the end of the day into the afternoon across southern New Jersey. So here's the wet weather that began just after midnight, creeping its way into northern New Jersey as we speak. And the rest of the morning will likely turn quite wet with already a half inch of rain that's fallen down toward Millville. Through the rest of this afternoon, we'll see those showers continue and even some downpours at times, those shades of yellow right after the lunch hour, working through Trenton, Mount Holly, even through Toms River. Some good soaking rains today. That lasts through the evening rush and even into very early morning tomorrow, especially up north. But notice how tomorrow morning starts to dry out. We stay cloudy most of the morning, and then some breaks of sun reappear by tomorrow afternoon. But this is the type of sun that, with a little bit of moisture in the air and some instability, could fire off a quick passing storm. And that's possible by the end of the day tomorrow, closer to 9, 10 o'clock. Still tomorrow night, going into Friday morning. I know, kind of fast forwarding here into the weekend with the shorter work week. We'll start off Friday a little dry and then still have the chances of showers and storms in the afternoon. But as far as the next few days, going into Friday evening and Saturday, I think the rain sticks around even for the first part of the weekend. Saturday, not looking all so great. Likely be pretty heavy on the clouds early in the morning and stay cloudy with highs in the 60s only, especially at the beaches. Not exactly what you want to hear after last Saturday was kind of a dud with that wet start and cloudy start to the weekend. But I think we can salvage Sunday, especially as temperatures will remain in the 70s for the second part of the weekend. We'll tell you more about that coming up, Ken, with a full check of your forecast. That's in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. We do have some traffic to talk about already. We know Mike had mentioned there's clouds, there's rain down in central New Jersey. And, there's the old adage, red skies in morning, sailor take warning. That, by the way, that adage only works in the east because of the direction of maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does work on the. Never mind. If we take a look at this camera, you'll see the red skies. Look at the red skies in morning. So we have showers coming later. Red skies in morning, sailor take warnings. That means storms are coming later on. Mike just said it too, and you could see the pink there. That's the way that is. That's I guess the way I was taught. It's humidity in the air, and that's what you're seeing, the refraction of the humidity. This is mile marker 149.2 southbound north of exit 148 Bloomfield on the Garden State Parkway, and you can see just a lot of volume there on the right-hand side as the traffic is heading northbound on the GSP. We also have traffic right now on US 1 southbound north of Riders Lane in New Brunswick. The right lane is closed due to a crash. We have roving repairs going on since 4 a.m. on Route 130 northbound Cooper Street in Willingboro Township, north of Florence Columbia Road in Mansfield. 2 of the 3 lanes are closed through there. We currently have delays at the Holland Tunnel, about 25 minutes making your way into New York and 30 minutes at the Lincoln. Let's take a look at the GWB right now, though. It's actually not bad, except for that guy right there, you on the shoulder. I watched a guy nearly get crushed doing what he just did last Friday. There was a tractor trailer coming, trying to make a turn from the extreme left lane. If you look at the right side of your screen, see where that tractor trailer is right now in this, like crawling out of the box. That tractor trailer, let's just say, he was trying to turn to the right lane. So he made a wide turn while a Cadillac Escalade was zooming down the shoulder as he should not have been. And the tractor trailer literally came within an inch of crushing him. Word to the wise, don't use the shoulder unless you have an emergency or a breakdown, period. So this right here is about 30 minutes in, which is not bad at all at the GWB right now. Use that as an option. Let's take a look at our I-80 cam in Wharton if we can. I-80, I know we have to switch it. It takes a second to do that on the switcher. I-80, this is where they're doing all the road work. So we currently have, ah, so, so okay, thank you. Thank you, Pam. This is I-80 eastbound at Howard Boulevard. So they're still doing construction. Considering they're doing construction yet, that's pretty darn good. It's about 10, 15 miles an hour. Remember, they're going to have everything open by about 3.5 weeks from now. We should be getting some of the westbound lanes open by a few days from now. Oh, no, we do have them. We're open in both directions, Pam. Is that right? You see the other side going too? Oh, this is past the construction. All right. See, I gotta have Pam in my ear. She knows this area. So that's past the construction site. That's why you see people coming on the westbound side. But this will be repaired in just a few weeks entirely. That's the good news. That's why we've been showing less and less of it to you because fortunately it'll be a thing of the past, the sinkhole repair. 7:06 right now. We had a tragic incident in Tobyhanna Township, Pennsylvania. It's just over the border where 40-year-old New Jersey man Bibbin Michael was found dead Sunday afternoon after a water-related accident. Pocono Mountain Regional Police responded to a call at Sir Bradford Road where two adults had fallen into a lake after their kayak flipped due to strong winds. Michael heroically jumped in to rescue them, but then submerged halfway to the kayak and did not resurface. A police diver recovered his body, and the cause of death is under investigation. 7:07 now. Jackson, New Jersey mourns the loss of a councilman, Scott Sargent, who passed away unexpectedly on May 23rd at age 61 due to chronic health issues. Elected in 2022 alongside Mayor Michael Reyna, Sargent previously served a decade on the Jackson Board of Education. Known for his dedication to the community, he worked as a senior groundskeeper in public works. Assemblyman Alex Sawicki, praised his many accomplishments. The council will appoint an interim successor with a special election set for November of 2025 to fill the remainder of his term. May he rest in peace. It is 7:07. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's attempt to freeze federal funds to New York over its congestion pricing program. Judge Louis Lyman's restraining order issued on Tuesday prevents the government from withholding transportation funds or rescinding approvals for the program until at least June 9th. No judicial activism there. No, none at all. The MTA sued U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who claimed the $9 toll for cars entering Manhattan exceeds federal authority and prioritizes revenue over congestion reduction. Tolls are set to rise to $12 in 2028 and $15 in 2031. And just wait, it's just going to keep going 20, 30, 40, because now they have the power to do that. Smart. So all you liberals who are all for this, that's what you're going to get now. Do not be surprised if there comes a point when nobody goes into New York and all the businesses shrink up and you will be a hovel of a city. And that is why. By the way, this was tried and has failed in London. They all admit that it has failed in London. A separate New Jersey lawsuit against the program is ongoing. 7:08 in New Jersey, a commission is urging lawmakers to revoke most citizens' authorities to make citizens' arrests, citing outdated laws that allow shopkeepers, librarians, and others to detain suspected lawbreakers, I should say. The New Jersey Law Revision Commission warns these, quote, anachronistic statutes lack clarity on suspicion, force, and liability, risking civil rights violations and safety. So now basically it says somebody comes into your store and robs the store, you're no longer allowed to do anything about it. Up until now, since the inception, the founding of our country, if you witness a crime, you can hold the person. You don't beat the person, you don't tie the person up, but you're allowed to hold the person and keep them in place until the police arrive. Now the liberals are saying, oh no, you don't know the person's rights, therefore you don't have a right as constitutionally as a citizen to stop that person until the police come. Nice. This again, liberalism leading to anarchy in society. That's what it is. The 2020 killing of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia linked to misused citizens arrest laws underscores the dangers. Quite different when you come up to somebody with a gun and shoot them because you don't recognize them. That is not what the civil citizens arrest laws were about. You're not allowed to shoot somebody, but you are allowed to hold them under citizens arrest. Sorry, libs. The commission recommends limiting arrest powers for citizens and special officers with a final report pending public comment. So basically now what the liberals want is if you witness a crime and you hold the person until police get there, you'll be charged with a crime for probably kidnapping the individual, even though they committed the crime and all you're doing is trying to act as good citizens to hold them for police. Think about that, New Jersey people who are so addicted to voting Democrat. Every time you walk into a voting booth, stop the stupidity and stop voting D in a knee-jerk way. My father voted Democrat. It's good enough for him. It's good enough for me. That's stupid. Stop it. My grandparents were Democrats too. You grow out of it because the Democrat Party of today ain't your grandparents' Democrat Party, folks. They're socialists. 7-Eleven right now, a new Congressional Budget Office analysis reveals that a Republican-passed House bill could strip food assistance from 3.2 million people monthly and cost states $14 billion annually by imposing SNAP work requirements and state cost sharing. Translation, the federal government is saying if you want to get food stamps and you are perfectly able and you prefer to sit on your butt at home instead of going out and getting a job, you now have to work for it. But they're making it sound like it's such a cruel and unusual form of punishment. That's what they're trying to make it sound. That's Democrats. See, Republicans like the idea of getting off your ass and working. Democrats seem to like the idea of having government be in control and order a victim class to sit on their butts at home and not do anything so the government has total control. Government, under the Democrat plan, will give you just enough to survive, but not enough to succeed. And that way they have control and they get your vote because they know that now you don't have enough money to live on your own. So they'll give you just enough to get by. So now you are beholden to them and you keep voting Democrat. That's the game. Wake up, break the cycle. What they fail to mention is a large number of those people who are on food stamps that they're going to be stripped of food stamps are illegal aliens. In fact, millions. You probably don't realize this. Illegal aliens are entitled to food stamps thanks to the Biden administration. So there are tens of millions of illegals in this country getting food stamps that you pay for. So while you work 2 and 3 jobs, struggle to pay your bills, if somebody walks across the border, they are entitled to have their kids educated, have their kids get 3 squares a day at school, get for the first 90 days at least, get free housing, if you're in New York City, you get a rechargeable money card, a cash card that's good for up to $20,000. That's under New York City law. I don't know what New Jersey has about it because I worked as a journalist in New York City. And then on top of that, once you run out of other funds as an illegal, you are entitled to welfare and you're entitled to food stamps. And when Republicans step in and say, at the very least, you're here illegally. If you want food stamps, get off your ass and do something. The Democrats say, that's horrible. That's horrible. How evil and cruel are you? Once again, think about that when you go to vote D in the voting booth. Well, here in New Jersey, Democrats have introduced a resolution calling what I just said unconscionable to have SNAP eligibility proof and maintaining that people are, if they're able-bodied, non-elderly, non-disabled adults, that you should have to work. So here's what the Democrats want. The Democrats want, no matter what, if you ask for food stamps, you get food stamps. Republicans say if you don't have kids to take care of and you're healthy and able-bodied, you're in your 20s or 30s, rather than come here and join a gang like Tren de Aragua and cause hell and rip up our society, we'll get you a job. We'll find you a job legally. You could work 20 hours a week, not a big deal. And for 20 hours a week of work, you get your food stamps. But the liberals are saying it's unconscionable. That's the word that they used. Again, think about that. Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia called it virtue signaling.
I support feeding hungry people. I support lifting families out of poverty. But I do not support using hunger as a political weapon, and that's exactly what you've done with this resolution. This is not a bill that fixes anything. It's a non-binding, performative gesture that accomplishes nothing more than virtue signaling to Congress. Doesn't reform a single broken system, doesn't address the cost of groceries in New Jersey, doesn't eliminate fraud or streamline access to families who actually need help. What this resolution does do is protect a bloated federal program from even the slightest attempt at oversight.
That is Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia. The U.S. Senate now considering the bill may see heated debate as Republicans push for SNAP reforms. Now, something to point out. Do you remember this guy named Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton, yeah, Bill Clinton. Remember him? Bill Clinton, very much alive, former president, nice guy, right? In 1996, the very liberal President Bill Clinton, who by today's standards would be a conservative, back then he was a liberal, the very liberal President Bill Clinton signed into law, Google it, something called welfare to work. You liberals, go look it the frig up. Welfare to work. Bill Clinton signed it into law. You know what that law said? If you're an able-bodied individual and you need food stamps, you got to get off your ass and go work. That's what it says. That wasn't a Republican president. That was a liberal president. But the party, the Democratic Party, has gone so far to the left that even Bill Clinton is too conservative for them. Funny how the Dems were all about workfare back then, and now if you mention, see, the idea of meritocracy and working for what you get, that's antithetical to liberalism. They want socialism. They want government in charge of everything. The government will parcel out checks and you just vote for them. A group of NPR stations has filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration to block an executive order that would cut federal funding to public radio. The suit was filed Tuesday in D.C. federal court and argues the order violates the First Amendment and Congress's authority over funding. Signed earlier this month, the order targets the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, claiming NPR and PBS lack journalistic independence. The lawsuit, backed by Colorado stations, calls the move retaliatory and unconstitutional, threatening NPR's survival. Let me just point something out to NPR and PBS. There is a federal law, because I used to own radio stations. There is a federal law that says the federal government cannot own any part of a broadcast entity in this country because it would then equal government control over speech. Okay? Because the broadcast licenses are equivalent to journalism and freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And if the government owns it, then they can control the narrative. So in order to have the corporation, in order to have funding, by the way it works, the federal government funds the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which is nothing but a bunch of communists. They are ultra leftists. Go read their agenda online. Then the Corporation for Public Broadcasting funds PBS and NPR. And it's all liberals funding liberals. They did a poll last year at NPR. Actually, it wasn't even a poll. It was an employee of NPR who was a Democrat. And he said out of 96 people in their newsroom, 96 were Democrats. 96. That's the diversity, equity, and inclusion. All white liberal Democrats in NPR's newsroom. So much for DEI. This is why the president wants to end funding. If so many people like NPR and PBS, let them earn their money by selling commercials like every other TV and radio station, like us here at ONNJ. We're not getting government money. Go out and get your funding like everybody else. 718, Governor Murphy has withdrawn the nomination of Pearl Minato, a former top prosecutor, for a Superior Court judgeship. Minato, once director of the Division of Criminal Justice, faced opposition from key senators due to her ties to the Office of Public Integrity and Accountability and a controversial corruption sting. Nominated December of 2023, her confirmation was unlikely. Minato is 56 years old, retired in June, securing a nearly $113,000 pension and could have earned $175,000 as a judge. The decision, rather, follows concerns over prosecutorial misconduct allegations that were tied to the office that she ran. And a couple of Secret Service agents are in hot water after they were caught on surveillance video duking it out. The agents were assigned to protect former President Barack Obama. They ended up fighting one another at 2:30 in the morning last week, May 21st. They're now suspended. An audio recording of the fight you see right there allegedly has they're both female agents, has one female agent on her radio declaring, quote, she needs a supervisor to come to her immediately before, quote, I whoop this girl's ass. That's her quote. It's not clear what prompted the fight. And if we didn't have enough to worry about, enter the screwworm. What's a screwworm, you ask? A screwworm is actually a fly, not a worm, but it does release larvae by burrowing into the skin of a living animal, human or beast, and leaving them there to feast on the animal's blood until they burst out alive. Imagine, so little larvae grow into flies under the skin of those cows and then burst through the skin after the cow is infected, and the cow usually gets bacterial infections and dies. We pushed back infestations of the screwworm in the early 1900s, again in the 1950s, as the deadly flies made their way north from Panama through Mexico into Texas. And it looks like they're making a comeback, thanks in part to very few efforts by the Panamanian and Mexican governments to keep them from spreading. As a result, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has now suspended live animal imports from Mexico. If the fly reaches Texas this time, it could threaten the $15 billion cattle industry. Texas is currently home to over 12 million heads of cattle. It is 59 degrees at 7:20. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Cloudy this morning, showers developing by afternoon, highs in the low to mid 60s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday. I'm Ken Rosato, 721, and we're taking calls at 888-658-0234. Cloudy this morning, showers by afternoon, highs in the low to mid 60s. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. Was I right with the
Good morning, Ken.
red skies in morning? Sailor take warning?
I was just going to say, so yes, you're right about how it happens in the east and how it works here in the east, but it works
Right.
in our latitude because our weather comes from the west and goes to the east. It doesn't work in places like, Florida, down south, in the
California.
tropical latitudes. Yeah, because the weather comes from the opposite direction. That's why
Right.
we know hurricanes, they come from the Caribbean and up and that whole bit. So yeah, you're on the right track with our forecast looking a bit wet today. If you saw that red sky this morning, yes, you know that there is rain coming in. Right now, the heaviest of the rain is falling across central and southern New Jersey, specifically south of 195. Look at the downpours right now through Cape May, Atlantic City, even over toward Vineland. All of this rain moving to the east. So the wet weather happening over Pennsylvania takes over northern New Jersey in the next few hours. And even the last few frames here showing those showers moving across 206 and up 295 as well. So it's going to be a wet start to the day with the heaviest of the rain right now staying across southern New Jersey, that blob of yellow moving across Millville and Vineland headed into Atlantic City by the 10, 11 o'clock hour. So rain continues today with some showers lasting right through this evening, heavy at times, temperatures of 63 only in Toms River, and even back over toward Princeton and Trenton, low 60s for you. So a much cooler feel to the day, much less pollen as well, especially as that rain gets going. We'll see these numbers drop into tomorrow with the weeds and grasses. On the moderate side, trees have turned low. The forecast rainfall totals are impressive for southern New Jersey. Again, we'll get a little bit of wet weather throughout the next few days here from Morristown through Hackensack, right through Saturday, with anywhere from a half inch to an inch of rain falling. But look what happens down toward Cape May, 2 to 4 inches of rain by Saturday morning. It's not exactly the ideal start to a beach weekend, even over by LBI and Ship Bottom and Atlantic City, but it does turn brighter once we get to the second half of the weekend with some drier weather here. We have to get through all of this rain before tapping into some clear sky later on in the weekend. So it's going to take some time for that wet weather to get going. Speaking of, not a whole lot of UV today. We're back down at a 5, which is moderate. I think even that's a little bit of an exaggeration at best, considering how much cloud cover is around today. And even with the futurecast showing those heavy showers across central and southern New Jersey at what is typically the peak of the sunny part of the day, 1 o'clock. Nah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be gray and windy too, with those winds coming in off of the water. So throughout the overnight, it stays wet. Tomorrow morning begins to dry out. I think we actually see a few breaks of sun down across southern New Jersey in the early afternoon and might even get a few breaks later in the day. However, as those temperatures climb to 80 in Toms River and 81 back by Trenton, there's just enough instability that could spark off another late afternoon thunderstorm, as would be the case going into Friday morning, with that little bit of instability lasting through Friday afternoon. So it does turn milder by the end of the week, a little more humid, but the shower threats are still there through Friday and even going into Saturday. Here's Friday night into Saturday morning. There's some wet weather around, especially with that little bit of a breeze coming in off of the water. It's cool at the coast, not a whole lot of sunshine. I think we start off the weekend a little gray, a little wet, but ultimately turn drier by Sunday. Sunday's looking a lot brighter. Look at this clear sky from top to bottom. Looks great to start off the second half of our weekend. Monday turns a little cloudy, but I think we're back to clear sky by Tuesday, and then a few clouds return for Wednesday and Thursday. So overall, it's a drier trend going forward once we get to Sunday. And then moving forward, I think we're looking pretty. This weekend, looking great on Sunday. It's just that early morning shower on Saturday that keeps us pretty cloudy. Temperatures still manage to climb, Ken, all the way into the 70s.
High achiever. There we go. We like that. And by the way, I did not know with the sailor take warning, red skies and morning, sailor take warning. I didn't realize. I thought it was good for the whole eastern seaboard. I didn't realize it was just the northeast. So that
Well,
is, see,
where
you
the
learn
trade
something new every day.
winds, since we are considered here
Ah,
the mid latitudes, where the trade winds bring in the weather from the west, that's where it works, since the sun always rises in the east anywhere on the planet, but our weather for that to work would have to come from the west.
I love it. So once you get like into South Carolina, Georgia, that's different, right? Because that's where the trade winds is. Am I wrong? Is that like where it kind of cuts off?
Little further south, go a little further south. So most
Like
of the
North
East Coast.
Florida?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
around
that's
there.
fascinating. I learned seriously, no blowing smoke. I learn something from you every single day, and I love that. It's a nice, fun lesson from our
About to blow
meteorologist,
your
Mike
mind. You ready
Favetta.
for this? So, yes,
Go
you're right
ahead.
about portions of North Florida, but that starts to change as the jet streams typically move north and south in those tropical latitudes by a few hundred miles between winter and summer. So, technically, it'll work in Florida a couple months of the year.
Now, does that have something to do with the fact that the Earth is tilted, and
Hmm.
that in the winter time, because I pay attention
Absolutely.
to you. We go. All right. And I'm not kidding. You've talked about this in the past, and it sticks in the head. Not in the way that Bill Evans used to stick in my head. That was sort of nightmarish. This is nice. So I appreciate. Hey Ken, why do you got to talk about me all the time, Rosato? Do I occupy space in your brain? Yes, you do, Bill. Stop. Sorry, I'll see the
We
therapist
go
today.
gently here.
Yes. All right, Mike. I appreciate you, man. We'll check back in a little bit. 7:27 right now, and it is time for. Oh, I'm sorry for getting traffic. Oh, Pam's like, don't forget traffic, Ken. Let's take a look if we can really fast. This is the Garden State Parkway. This is right near the Essex tolls. You can see things, just a little volume as you get into the Essex tolls in Bloomfield. Not so bad at all, really, fortunately. We do have a crash that is way south of this, though. There's a crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of Great Egg Toll Plaza. That's in Upper Egg Harbor Township. Can't speak today. Vehicles are off to the right shoulder, causing delays. We have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike, Hudson County Extension, eastbound by 14, which is I-78 in Newark. The right shoulder is blocked there. Crash on 295 northbound by exit 65, Sloan Avenue in Hamilton Township. Right shoulder is closed. Crash on US 1 southbound in New Brunswick. The right lane is closed. And we do have some delays into the GWB, but not so bad. It's about 35 minutes. You can see the upper and lower approach. Oh, maybe it's about 40 minutes now. It's slowed down since the last time we checked. Upper and lower levels. You see the upper on the right, lower on the left. Right now, Lincoln is 35 minutes and the Holland is 30 minutes. It is 7:29, and it is now time for Politics from Trenton, explained like no one else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, May 28th. Welcome to the Inside Edge. The story I'm going to tell today begins in 1988 when Governor Tom Kean appointed George Norcross's father to a seat on the New Jersey State Racing Commission. Norcross's father was a labor leader. He was well liked and respected, sometimes feared in South Jersey. But a four-term Republican state senator from Cherry Hill named Lee Laskin. Laskin was a bit of a jerk. He was not especially well liked by his colleagues from either party, and Laskin used senatorial courtesy to block Norcross from being confirmed. There was no deal to be made, and that could have changed Laskin's mind. So Norcross wound up withdrawing. And the following year, George Norcross III was elected Camden County Democratic chairman. And in 1991, the Norcross family was positioned to seek their revenge on Senator Laskin. Now, I have to set the stage for what politics in Jersey was like in 1991. Governor Jim Florio, a Democrat from Camden County, had proposed a massive $2.8 billion tax increase that led to a grassroots revolt against him. I mean, thousands of people were coming to the State House throwing toilet paper at the State House because Florio proposed applying the sales tax to toilet paper. New Jersey had a Republican wave that year. They captured both houses of the legislature. They flipped 10 state Senate seats and 21 state assembly seats, and they won in some of the most unlikely of places. They took a Trenton-based district in Mercer County. They won 6 seats in Middlesex, an assembly seat in Patterson, 12 legislative seats in Bergen County. It even resulted in a Republican majority on the Middlesex County Board of Freeholders. But the results were remarkably different in the suburban 6th district, where Laskin was seeking a 5th term. Democrats spent, I think, close to $2 million on the race. It was a record-setting amount for a legislative campaign in those days. And George Norcross, he was then 36 years old. He personally guaranteed a $250,000 loan. This campaign savaged Laskin in a Philadelphia broadcast TV blitz. They mercilessly attacked his ethics, and these TV ads ran during an Eagles game on Monday Night Football, during Game 7 of the World Series. This was a stealth campaign that deliberately began late and caught Laskin completely off guard. The Democratic candidate was a 32-year-old lawyer from Cherry Hill named John Adler, and he beat Laskin by 6,100 votes. It was 55-45. And that, everybody, is revenge Camden County style. That's everything I have for today, and I'll be back tomorrow.
Gosh, he knows everything about New Jersey politics. 7:32 now, 59 degrees. When we come back, the unofficial start of summer has occurred, and families are looking for fun stuff to do. We're going to speak with the folks in Mountain Creek Water Park about some awesome attractions there. Also, the phone lines are open, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Cloudy this morning, showers developing by afternoon, highs in the low to mid 60s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, seen daily on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, news on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now we stream live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/ONNJ. We'll be right back. Morning, it is 60 degrees, 7:34, Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. Clouds this morning, showers developing by afternoon, highs in the mid 60s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Very wet again today, starting off gray in northern New Jersey with those showers already falling across central and southern parts of the state, the light rain coming down, and where you see just the clear sky, at least on the radar screen, it's cloudy now, and that rain will move in quite quickly. So over the course of the morning into the afternoon, that wet weather sticks around. Even the future radar showing most of that rain moving in over the next few hours. South Jersey stays wet today with temperatures holding in the mid and upper 60s. At best, at the coast, even the upper 50s, back by Glassboro and Camden. So chilly weather around today. We enjoy our later sunset, even though we're not going to see much sun today, now arriving at 8:19. So all of this rain moving across the southern part of the state now, about to enter northern New Jersey in the next few hours. So I think you'll get through the rest of the morning commute just dry with a spotty sprinkle and drizzle, but the rain chances are much higher this afternoon. Then you'll see a little bit of a drop off through Friday. I think best chance of wet weather today as opposed to tomorrow, with tomorrow looking quite dry, especially in southern New Jersey. Saturday now has a better chance of rain as that wet weather will kind of prolong itself into the first part of the weekend, but Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday looking very clear, nice and dry, especially after so much wet weather by then. Air quality looks good today, thanks to the clear air coming in off of the water. As far as the rest of the day, we'll keep the wet weather around tomorrow. Again, as the system passes off to the north and east, try and tap into some clear sky for a few hours in the afternoon before more rain comes back on Friday and even lingering into Saturday. It's a very slow-moving system that'll prolong and really overstay its welcome going into the first part of the weekend. So the 7-day forecast has clearing by Sunday, but until then, take some time to get out of this kind of wet and windy pattern. I think Saturday afternoon we'll likely see some clearing later on in the day, but the real clearing happens on Sunday, 72 and sunny. Look what happens by Monday and Tuesday. We're back to that slow climb to above average highs with the dry weather going into the middle of next week. A lot of wet weather on the first half of this 7-day, taking us right through Saturday. But by Sunday, we're back to some warmth down the shore, even Monday and Tuesday. Looking great there as well at the beaches as highs climb into the mid 70s. So starting to feel like summer just as June arrives, right on schedule, Ken.
Yeah, I like when June falls on schedule.
Hmm.
Kidding. I bet you June is going to fall on June 1st, just because I'm crazy that way. I'm just saying. All
We'll
right,
have to
Mike.
wait and see with bated breath.
Deep Thoughts by Ken Rosato. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. We'll check back. It is 60 degrees now at 7:37. A little bit of traffic to talk about right now. This is the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 152.5 northbound. This is north of exit 151 Bloomfield. You can see just a little bit of a, we call that car butts, the back of the cars. And just a little bit of a delay as the cars are making their way past the tolls. Not too bad at all, just showing the volume, but it is moving, and that is good news. We do have a crash, though, way south of that point in Great Egg Town Harbor. I can't say it today. Great Egg Harbor Township on the Garden State Parkway northbound, just south of the toll plaza down there. All lanes are open, but vehicles are off to the right shoulder. We have a crash on the Turnpike Hudson County extension eastbound, east of Interchange 14, which is I-78 in Newark by the airport. The right shoulder is closed. And we have a crash on 295 northbound, north of exit 65, Sloan Avenue, Hamilton Township. The right shoulder is closed there. 8095 approach to the GWB rather is now slow. You can see it's about a 45-minute crossover into Manhattan, 35 minutes at the Lincoln and 30 minutes at the Holland. 7:38 is our time. And the big countdown is on for summer fun in New Jersey as Mountain Creek Water Park gears up for its grand opening June 20th, promising a splash-tastic season with the exciting return of two iconic attractions, Cannonball Falls and Tarzan Swings. Joining us now is Jackie Serra, Resort Marketing Director at Mountain Creek, to share all the details about what's in store for the 2025 summer season. Jackie, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I cannot believe June 20th is like a few weeks away, just around the corner, coinciding, of course, perfectly with the first day of summer. I like the way that works. Tell us what makes this season at Mountain Creek Water Park so special, especially with the return of Cannonball Falls and Tarzan Swings.
Of course, like any summer, we are so excited to be gearing up. We're obviously preparing, we're getting ready, we're doing lifeguard training. This summer specifically, we're thrilled to be reopening our two iconic rides, Cannonball Falls and Tarzan Swing. They're making their comeback after a several year hiatus, and we are thrilled. Our water park is so unique. It's nestled right into the side of a mountain, so it's got some natural contours that follow into spring-fed pools. It's the perfect opportunity to cool off on those hot days and enjoy some friendly, like family fun.
And it's all drivable. That's the best part. I mean, anywhere in the state of New Jersey or in southern New York, it's such or in eastern Pennsylvania, you're a perfect location, and you're near all the highways, very easy to get to. When I was a kid, I used to go there. It had a different name then, but it's just a great location and so fun. It's just, if you don't want to travel to the big D, if you know what I mean, and spend thousands of dollars, you could have great fun right here in the state. Now, the Gorge sounds exciting. Tell us about the Gorge and the revamped section of the water park and how it enhances the experience of all your iconic rides.
Of course. So we're building this new section called the Gorge. Obviously, Cannonball Falls and Tarzan Swing are the new additions to this area. There will also be a little food and beverage outlet serving up some delicious eats like skewers and frozen bananas, things that are a little bit tropical. But that's in addition to like our already iconic rides like the cliff jumps, the Colorado River Rapids, like those things. So we're really just leveling up this side of the park, and we're giving another option. These rides are going to be for, a little bit higher of a thrill level, right? It's, I think they're a certain height restriction, but they're going to be really iconic. These rides were really well known back in the day, and we're really excited to bring them back and better than ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Mountain Creek is known for its variety of attractions because you have thrill rides like Zero G, you have family-friendly options for the younger kids. You talk about height restrictions. I still can't qualify, by the way. My height isn't there yet. But how does the water? I'm 6'3". I'm kidding. My height. I qualified when I was 3. That's how tall I was as a kid. How does the water park, by the way, cater to visitors of all ages? Because you really have a lot to offer. It really is family friendly.
Yeah, of course. So, right from anybody to young adults, all the way down to families with younger children, we've got a great selection of rides. There's a kids lazy river, which is really wonderful for the little ones. Obviously, we have the wave pool. We also have cabanas, which are like private rentals that you can get for the day, just to give yourself like a little bit of a private area. So there's really a lot of different ways you can visit. In addition to that, we even have corporate outings. We host family reunions, and we have packages, as well as just having a lot of restaurant and bar options throughout the water park. Great. So great places to eat, come have fun, cool off. It's really a great opportunity for the summer.
And the price is right because you go to the GA, which is down toward central southern New Jersey, or like I said, you fly to the Sunshine State.
Mhm.
Down in Florida, you're talking about literally you have to save up for years. For you
Yeah.
guys, you're offering $89.99 season passes, which is amazing, and full
Mhm.
day tickets starting at $49.99. So that is a big value option for families and thrill seekers when they want to plan their summer visit. That's cheaper than a lot of the beaches down the shore are charging for admission.
Yeah, and it's perfect for like a quick getaway, right?
Perfect. Yes, because it's an hour or two away from almost anywhere in the tri-state area. I mean, if you're coming from Manhattan, you're talking less than 2 hours, even with traffic. It's fantastic for that. Now, tell us about the Water Park After Dark event for adults 21 and over. That's kind of unique.
It is unique. We started a couple years ago, and we brought it back. Water Park After Dark. The park closes, and then we reopen for ages 21 plus. We've got a couple bar options. It is a limited slide availability. Like we open what we can light up. So the wave pool, surf hill. We have a couple different rides there. And we have some DJs that come in. We're still working on booking out exactly which DJs, but we're hoping to bring in some bigger names this year. And just kind of, it's a nightlife thing. So it's really cool to be able to cater to the 21 plus crowd, give them an opportunity to come out and enjoy the water park, with no kids, and really let loose on a Friday night. It runs from I think it's July 11th to August 8th. So
All right,
every
they could
Friday
check your
night.
website. I'm sure they could check your
Yeah,
website
all
for
the
those
details are on
details.
the website.
And Mountain Creek is hiring, right? You guys need a lot of folks to come work for you, and your minimum wage starts at $16 an hour. What kind of jobs are you looking to fulfill or fill, I should say, at the place?
We're looking to fill obviously a lot of lifeguard jobs, which include paid training. We work with Ellison Associates for our lifeguard training. They're wonderful. Um, guest experience is our, the team that greets you at the front of the park. And they also help with ride attending throughout the water park. We are, aside from the summer businesses, we are looking for banquet servers, sous chefs, things like that. So we've got a wide variety of positions, and we're almost, always hiring. We've got a lot going on, 4 seasons. So it's a great opportunity for some employment in the area.
And what's a website so people can get some more information there, Jackie?
You can learn more information at mountaincreek.com.
There you go. Pretty good, right? MountainCreek.com. Easy enough. Jackie Serra, Resort Marketing Director at Mountain Creek. Come back anytime. Give us some updates through the summer. We want to hear it. It's a little treasure in New Jersey, and we appreciate the fact that you guys work so hard to give us some fun to do in the summertime. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
You bet. Have a great day. And we're going to go to the phones right now. Pam, let's go through past this break if we can. We have, let's see, I'm going to make sure I hit the right button. I hope I hit the right button. I can tell you, I hear it. All right. It's Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia. Good morning, Assemblywoman. Good to have you on today.
Good morning, Ken. You have one heck of a show this morning. You're repping Sussex County with Mountain Creek. That's about 10 minutes from my house. So that was really great.
I sensed you would be here. I am just incensed. I saw you on the floor. You probably, I don't know if you caught me earlier. I'm on fire today because of the idea that modern day liberals, first of all, they forget that there's such a thing called videotape, and that we had a guy named Bill Clinton who in 1996 signed welfare to work, rather. He signed that bill into law, something that the minute the Democrats had control, they eliminated. So God forbid we look at the virtue of working for your food and working for your income if you are able-bodied and don't have kids. God forbid you are just dirt if you push that. I just don't understand liberalism. I'm sorry. Please tell me I'm wrong.
I can't tell you you're wrong. What I can say is that the Democrat majority is very wrong on this issue. I mean, I was absolutely appalled. First of all, we got this resolution from the majority party sent over to our caucus room less than an hour before we actually went into session. And that's how we knew it was performative. The bill, or resolution, I should say, did absolutely nothing. It didn't feed anybody. It didn't modify any policies. It was virtue signaling. And I wonder if they read what they even write, because they said that it was absolutely unconscionable to make these cuts. So let me explain a little something about the unconscionable aspect of this. What's unconscionable is that New Jersey is second in the entire country for misappropriating and misdistributing funds in the SNAP program. We're just behind Alaska. We have a rate of nearly 35% of errors in overpayment to people who either do not qualify or do not qualify for that amount. So what I find unconscionable is that New Jersey has the nerve to say, how dare the federal government hold us accountable, because according to the new legislation out of Washington, D.C., what they are proposing is that if you have these types of error rates, you will be responsible to pay anywhere from 5% to 15% as your state if you cannot get a handle on your misappropriated funds. And another important piece is exactly what you said, Ken, what you said about able-bodied adults without children. We're not talking senior citizens. We're not talking those with disabilities. We're not talking children. We are talking able-bodied adults. They say it is unconscionable that we would ask them to work or go to workforce training for 20 hours a week to be eligible.
It comes down to this, Don. It comes down to this. Liberals want government control over every aspect of our lives, because in order to have the universe of socialism, you need the controller and the controllee. You need to have the person in charge and the victim. So they need a permanent victim class in the recipients of food stamps. So they will make the determination who gets the food stamps. And basically, it's a racial thing too. Whites, if you are white, if you are Jewish, or if you are Asian, you are not in the victim class. If you are anything but white, Jewish, or Asian, you are in the victim class in the mind of the modern socialist, which is the Democrat Party, aka in New Jersey. And they love to control the victim class and say, we will give you just enough to survive, but not enough to succeed. And they indoctrinate in the idea that government will provide. And if you find anybody who disagrees, they're racists. That is what liberals today are indoctrinating young people to believe. And it's obviously nonsense. If you break that cycle, everyone, no matter who you are, can be successful. We've had a president who was black. We've had a vice president who was black. The wealthiest woman in America, Oprah Winfrey, is black. So everyone can succeed as long as you break the cycle of government control. Don Fantasia, Assemblywoman, New Jersey. I'm sorry, but we're out of time. We have something we got to get to. I love when you call any time, and thank you for hearing my rant. You're my official therapist.
Thank you, Ken. Hope you have a great day.
And I'm going to send you a bottle of Tums. I don't know how you deal with your colleagues there on the left in Trenton. I don't know how. You are definitely a saint.
I
All right,
laugh.
Assemblywoman. Yeah, you're a
I
good
say
woman.
that, yes, Tums are hair dye because I don't have gray hair yet, but they're going to give it to me. I'm telling you.
I got it. I got it for you. In fact, you can even see people watching on camera right now. You're in the car, so I won't make you look. But people watching on camera, you can see where the hair dye overlaps the gray in my temples right now. Have a wonderful day, Assemblywoman. Thanks for calling. Check in anytime.
Thank you. Bye, Ken.
Well, it is 7:51. We do have to shift to this great story, though, we want to share with our good friends at Kane University. A monumental victory for Kane University baseball. The Cougars clinched the NCAA Division III Union Super Regional Championship with a dramatic 5-2 win over Salve Regina in a winner-take-all Game 2, and it marks Kane's first trip to the national final since 2013. They're now gearing up to face Endicott College. That's from up near Elmira, New York, on May 30th. ONNJ's Lisa Marie Falbo caught up with Kane's head coach, Neil Iovero.
Coach, congratulations. You clinched the Super Regional and advanced to the D3 College World Series. How does that feel?
It feels wonderful, obviously. It's been a long haul this season, step by step, methodically, trying to stay afloat and just keep moving forward. So thank God we're in this position. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I love your trophy, baby, too. It must have felt so good to have that in your arms.
Thanks. This is actually the first time I held it. I let the kids hold it the rest of the time.
Well, enjoy this special time. Coach, your team showed incredible resilience after a tough 5-4 loss in Game 2. What did you say to the players to get them focused and ready for the decisive Game 3?
Well, one thing about me is I like to try to have all the bases covered. And if I'm being honest, I'm more operating on the pessimistic side than the optimistic side. So I like to play scenarios out and get everybody prepared for what's coming. So on Thursday, I believe, after we practiced, I had a meeting with them, and I just, I like to play scenarios. Well, if we win this first game, if we win the second, it's over. If we win the first game and lose the second game, we have one left. If you lose the first game, you're going to have to win 2 straight, and just play out the mentality of what has to take place to navigate through the bracket, whether it's this 2 teams going against each other like this super regional, or whether it was the 4-team regional, or whether it's a 6-team conference tournament. This way, when you go through stuff, you're not shocked and you know how to rebound and regroup. So I told them after the huddle, you guys got 5 minutes to feel bad, and then it's back at work. And, with our conference, we play these 9-inning doubleheaders every single weekend, and we play a couple through the course of the year. So I think that was our 7th doubleheader of 9 innings each game. So this was a normal Saturday for us. It wasn't really a big deal. Obviously, there's a lot at stake, but it's going to show the character of your team and the coaching staff when you're hitting adversity and you're in these tight games, how they play, how they handle it. And that's what we like to be ready for, is those really tough grinds that come at you.
Players like Tyler Stone, Dan Riceley, and Dominic Messino stepped up big in both games. How have their performances and leadership shaped this team's success?
Well, I think our team is predicated on it's not built around 1 or 2 or 3 guys. And you're going to have production that comes throughout the lineup on offense. And obviously with the pitching, there's going to have to be people that step up in different roles. So those guys in that last game, like you asked me about jumping out to a 3-0 lead, it was good to get some early hits because we haven't been scoring that many runs and just get a little bit of a breather. And what you're trying to do there is just be able to withstand another team's big inning and still be able to be in the game. So they jumped right back at us with 2, and Danny made an incredible play at first base to turn a double play at third. He caught a ball, and then a guy got off the base and he ran him down. That was a key play because if that inning was still going, that might have turned into another 2 or 3 runs. And so I think that helped us get off the field with the win. With the lead. And for those guys, they're just very clutch players. I mean, when the moments are big, they keep coming up big for us. So we're going to need that production from them and then other guys through the lineup in this next stage.
So you were just in a very intense pressure cooker situation. Now you go on to this tournament. How are you preparing your players?
Well, for me, it's my 7th time. So, I mean, obviously, I'm aware of what to expect and the surroundings in terms of, how to go through the day with practice days and meetings. But when it all comes down to it, it's just a baseball game. So our job as coaches is to keep the players free and clear in their mind and playing loose and just act like it's any other game because it is. Obviously, the stakes are high. You're at a different, place that you're playing. But if you can just simplify it for them to just play the style of play that we play and play the way they're capable of, that's how you get out of things like this. It's not doing things that you're not used to doing or going away from things that you were productive at through the course of the year. It's staying the course in these games. And these teams are really good. I mean, it's everyone out there is coming off recently 2 championships, the regionals and the super regionals. There's, a lot of top teams out there. So you got to play your best to hang in there for a while.
Well, with a 40-9 record, you obviously have had an incredible season. Talk about, really briefly, your history with Kane University and the Cougars.
Well, it's weird because no matter how much success we've had, in my mind, I always revert back to the early days when I started. And, we had nothing here. We had no field. It was one of the worst fields out there. We barely had uniforms. Like, we weren't traveling the right way. And, people told me I was crazy back then to leave my teaching job to come take this job because, quote unquote, nobody's ever won there. And we just knew that the kind of people we had back then with our assistant coaches and Jack Nagy's a man who coached with me for a very long time, and he passed away in 2019. And he's everyone who's been through the program. He's like their father, their grandfather, their mentor, and so he helped an awful lot. I had my brother coaching with me, Frank Beckhorn, who was one of the best players that ever played here. I think the best player. And slow and methodically, we started bringing in players. The facilities got better. The school turned into a university, and it's been a climb. So in my mind, I don't look at it like it is now. I still revert back to, where we started. And I have that humbleness about me that knows, and appreciates all the stuff we have, because we have an awful lot of stuff now, and these kids don't necessarily, understand how it was many, many years ago. And, it just is really good to, start something from scratch and keep it moving through, the amount of time that we've been able to do this.
Coach, in your opinion, how were you able to have so much success with such a young team?
Well, no, I really appreciate that question because it goes, it comes with a lot of layers. I think first and foremost, last year we knew the kind of players that we had in that particular recruiting class, and we would talk about it a lot. Like when next year comes, we're going to have a lot of success because I think it brings us back to more of our style of play. We like to play really fast and with great defense and obviously excellent pitching. And so like we knew at the end of last year, like once we get these guys out there regularly, I think we're going to have a lot of success. And I remember having a meeting with our athletic director, Kelly, after the season. And if you look at the last few years, if I'm being honest, in 2019, we were in a regional, one out from a super regional, and I think we dropped the pop-up, and it led to an extra game that we didn't get. And then in 20, which was the COVID year, we had a really, really good team that got shut down. And then, it's been hard to have some continuity from then on with players necessarily leaving or staying. It's been a huge adjustment in the NCAA with players, in and out. But this core group was here to stay. And I remember, I think in one of those seasons we got to the conference championship and didn't get it. We got to the conference finals the next year and didn't get it. We came tied for first place last year and we didn't get it. So we've been knocking on the door so close. And I remember having a meeting with Kelly, and he's like, what do you think you need to get, where we need to go? And I said, a couple of things I think are important is obviously the team that we have. We're very, very excited about this core that's coming back and the upperclassmen that'll be back. And, just really wanting to be me, just wanting to go out there and do things the way I'm used to doing them. And, with the COVID stuff that there's been so many restrictions and, with time and things like that. And he just like took a lot off my shoulders. Is like, do what you have to do and just be you and go. And so I was able to, relay that to our staff and really get back to our roots of how we go about it and the length of time in practices and the details and, being critical when it's time to be critical of those little things that aren't getting done. And this particular group is able to handle the pressure. Like we've been in so many pressurized games and they could handle it. And we knew that at times last year, how they would practice or how they would play in games. And then anyone that knows me, this is going to sound weird, but my favorite sport's actually basketball. Okay. I love basketball and I have boy-girl twins that are in 5th grade and I coach their little grammar school basketball team. And, I have a friend named Derek who helps me with the team coaching and to have the purity of the young kids, just to take the pressure off of this and be able to see the purity of how the young kids go about it. And we were lucky enough to have this one coach that joined our staff. His name was Trey Gardner, and he's like the top AAU coach in our area. And I got to be honest, I told him this to his face months ago. I said, one day I'm going to be getting interviewed and I'm going to talk about you because, we used to have these practices with these kids. We had 6 kids that really needed a lot of work and 6 kids who have played, and we put a team together and somehow we ended up winning 14 games and 3 games in the playoffs. And I watched this man work every day with an insane amount of passion, whether it was our best player, worst player, needed the most work, staying early, coming early, staying late. And it was like a rejuvenation for me to watch how, intense and how, committed he was at that level. And so I had the same kind of kids with my cane team, and it really relayed. And I just loved working with him, and that rubbed off on me a lot. So that meeting with Kelly and doing that little basketball team and having the success we had from where we came, but those are 2 big things for me that have rejuvenated us to get to this point. And the players just buy in. Our players really buy into what we're doing. It's not fun sometimes having to bunt or hit and run and, all these little things, but, the more they see success, the more they've bought into it. So, really fortunate to have, the kind of people character-wise, their families, they come from great families, and the administrators have just been great. There's a lot of support, you just get what you need. If you need something, you have to ask and you'll get it if you need it. So I'm just very grateful for the support staff I have around me. It's been great.
I love that you gave us that insight because I think viewers need to know it's not just what you see on the field, it's everything that goes on behind the scenes, and you painted such a great picture. I just want to know, how do you have the time to coach a big-time baseball team and your kids' basketball team? I mean, that is dedication.
And their baseball team and run, do the camps in the summer, like whatever. It's nonstop. Like it's either cane baseball or my kids' baseball, basketball, track, bowling, whatever they do. That's what I have enough time for. Other than that, there's not much time.
No, I don't know when you sleep. But Coach, once again, congratulations, and we are sending you all the best vibes as you make your way to Ohio.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great day.
You too.
He is such a kind, humble, amazing man. Having interviewed him myself, and this is why he's so successful. This is why his team loves him, and this is why they're so successful. Congratulations and best of luck. When we come back, we'll take your calls. 888-658-0234. Clouds this morning, showers by afternoon, highs in the low to mid-60s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You're watching ONNJ Mornings, and we're coming right back. That's our Zen reset for the morning. Good morning. It is 8:04 right now, 59 degrees, 60 actually right now on Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Clouds this morning, showers developing by afternoon, highs in the mid-60s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, I'm burning incense right now, and I'll be chanting Om during your weather forecast. I hope you don't mind.
It's all good because it's what you'll need today to kind of get through that gray, sort of rainy day. Another one after so much wet weather last week. And I think some of this wet weather even spills over into the weekend to start our rainy Saturday. Here's the picture right now across northern New Jersey. We are generally dry, but there's rain moving in, just like in southern New Jersey, where that wet weather has been falling for at least the last several hours, rightly starting as soon as the 2 or 3 in the morning. With that rain now taking over across southern parts of the state, it will eventually move in across northern New Jersey from Wayne, Hackensack, and Jersey City. Those showers lasting with temperatures climbing only into the mid-60s today. So as far as our drought, it's over. We're just abnormally dry in some sections of New Jersey where the average amount of rainfall has been well above average, and even the rainfall deficit, very little. Look at how red this map gets for the second week of June. It's well above average temperature, so plan on some big heat returning here to New Jersey in the next several weeks, and also slightly drier than average weather for us here in the Garden State, taking over for the first week of June. That's weather we could use, considering how wet, considering how humid it's been, and of course all of the cooler weather that's been around. Now we start to warm things up. Now it takes a while to get dry. I think through Saturday it's wet, with tomorrow looking dry at times. There's still some showers coming in later tomorrow night, but it all clears out by Sunday, and then going into Monday and Tuesday. Look how warm it trends, all the way up to 79 by next Tuesday. So some nice heat on the way with some sunshine to coincide. Then even throughout the shore points, I think we'll see that rain lasting through Saturday. Sunday turns drier, and Monday and Tuesday warming as well, with those temperatures above average even for the shore points. So it'll look great once we get into this time next week with that pleasant, warm sunshine at your back. Looking great going forward into the first week of June, Ken.
We'll take it. Thank you, Mike. In fact, our director, Pam, because you were talking about rain in the southern half of the state right now, let's show it. We have mile marker. This is like the exit 30 on the Garden State Parkway. Pam, do you have it there? There you go.
Ugh.
So as Mike was saying, look at that. Ugh, I love it. Ugh. There's what Mike was pointing out. There's the rain down there. Here comes the rain again. This is why the Eurythmics didn't hire me. And that is the rain in southern New Jersey making its way here. The whole state will have it soon enough. And that's what you got. A great day. But you got to pay for the May flowers with the, well, May showers. It's what you got to do. Otherwise, we'll end up in a drought. So there's a good thing. If we could, we also have another shot. This is northern New Jersey. This is mile marker 147.0, exit 145, entering the Garden State Parkway. This is up toward, I guess this would be East Orange. This is by I-280. Just a bit of a slowdown. That's volume. That's actually not so bad, considering we've seen some days where that is bumper to bumper. So that's really not that bad right now. We also do have a crash north of that, excuse me. This is on the Garden State Parkway northbound, south of exit 160, Paramus Road to Route 208 in Saddlebrook Township, one right lane blocked. EMS activity and police department activity on the Turnpike Inner Roadway southbound interchange 7, Route 206, Bordentown Township with the right shoulder blocked. Crash on the GSP northbound south of Great Egg Toll Plaza in the Upper Township. All lanes open, vehicles on the right shoulder. And we have a crash on the Turnpike Hudson County Extension eastbound, east of interchange 14 I-78 Newark with the right shoulder blocked. Finally, the 8095 approach to the GWB is moving kind of slowly. Here's a different angle of it. You can see it's kind of slow making your way to the GWB. We're told it's about a 45 to 50 minute cross time, 35 at the Lincoln and 30 at the Holland. 8:08 is our time, and U.S. consumer confidence surged in May, rising 12.3 points to 98, the Conference Board reported, boosted by a U.S.-China deal lowering tariffs on Chinese imports from 145% down to 30%. The rebound, seen across all ages and incomes, was driven by optimism about future business, jobs, and income. However, concerns linger over tariffs, raising prices and hurting the economy, with inflation expectations dipping to 6.5%. Consumers are saving more, with over a third setting aside money for future spending. It is 8:09. In a major policy shift, the federal government has removed COVID-19 vaccines from the CDC's recommended immunization schedule for healthy pregnant women and children. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced the decision, saying that it aligns with President Trump's goal to make America healthy again.
Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
Critics, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, warn this could confuse parents and reduce choices, especially since pregnant women and newborns remain at high risk for COVID complications. Hey, to the liberals at the very tiny group that is, by the way, it sounds like a huge organization. Just because it's the American Academy of Pediatrics, don't assume all pediatricians are part of it. Actually, only a tiny percentage are a part of it. And it's like the hardcore liberals insisting on this vaccine. Parents are not that stupid, folks. They're not that stupid. All these folks in the government are saying is it's not mandatory, and it's not officially said that your children who are perfectly healthy and have perfectly good immune systems should be required to get COVID shots. That's all. We've seen so many people who have complications with their hearts, etc. Is it worth getting a shot when kids get over COVID like the common cold? That is it. And you have to wonder how in the hip pocket of big pharma many of those people at that organization are, that they are still promoting this for all children. Who, if you take a look at how many children died from COVID, it's about that, except for the very few who had major complications in terms of other diseases or illnesses. So the idea of running to give a perfectly healthy child a COVID vaccine, think again. Just saying. I'm no doctor. Check with your own doctor. But you have to wonder what the ulterior motive is. 8/11, President Trump announced that he will pardon reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley, convicted in 2022 of tax evasion and bank fraud. The Chrisley Knows Best couple was sentenced to 12 and 7 years, respectively, in prison for defrauding banks of over $36 million and the IRS. Trump, speaking to their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, said that he hopes to grant the pardon by today.
That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing, but it's a great thing because your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So wonderful. Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life.
Savannah has been actively lobbying for her parents' release, including speaking at the Republican National Convention. Good news and bad news for Newark Airport. Aviation officials reported few significant delays at the airport over Memorial Day weekend. However, travel through the international jet port dropped 10% year to year due to a mandatorily reduced number of takeoffs and landings per hour. The flight decrease appears to have helped Newark rebound following a series of travel issues, including numerous flight delays and cancellations in recent weeks. 8/12, and while cases of measles continue to spread throughout the U.S., the state of Hawaii is now seeing a spike in whooping cough. The disease, formerly called pertussis, is on the rise at a worrying rate. As of May 15th, there have been 108 cases of pertussis reported, already exceeding the 84 total cases in all of 2024. Symptoms often resemble a cold, but can progress to intense coughing fits. Complications can include pneumonia, seizures, apnea, encephalopathy, and death. Encephalopathy is a swelling of the brain. Ask your doctor if you might need a pertussis vaccine, especially if you are traveling to Hawaii. The FBI has reopened the probe into the bag of cocaine discovered by Secret Service agents in the White House under President Biden in 2023. Deputy Director Dan Bongino confirmed the probe had been reopened in the interest of exposing public corruption. Bongino said that the cocaine case would be reopened along with the leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs decision prior to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Amazing how the Supreme Court is such a tiny group of people, but nobody could figure out who might have leaked such a monumental thing as the decision of Roe v. Wade before it could be formally announced by the Supreme Court to the world. It was back in July of 2023. The Secret Service announced that agents discovered the cocaine near the entrance of the White House's West Wing. They said they were unable to determine the owner's identity, in spite of the fact there were like 100 security cameras in the Capitol, Capitol Police, and Secret Service agents all over the place. Yet nobody could see where that cocaine was left or how. Many have speculated the cocaine could have belonged to Joe Biden's son, Hunter, who admittedly, by his own admission in his own book, had a cocaine addiction, and he has a history of drug addiction. A horrible crash yesterday at the Middletown post office sent people running for their lives. This happened just after 2 p.m. Police say the driver of a white-colored car hit the gas instead of the brake and crashed right through the front of the building. Police say customers were in the building at the time. They ran for safety as they heard the loud boom, and amazingly, nobody got hurt, and police are investigating. Want to sleep better? Making whoopee before closing your eyes is the key. Like none of us ever figured that out. That, according to a new pilot study published in the journal Sleep Health. I wonder what happened. Did a bunch of doctors sit around and say, hey, I got an idea for a study. Let's get a bunch of couples and tell them to make love before going to bed and see if they sleep better. Apparently, that's what they did. And it was just a few dozen couples, but it showed that if you do that before you go to sleep, you'll improve your sleep. Just passing on the info, folks. 8:15, a couple of Secret Service agents are in hot water if they were caught on surveillance video duking it out. Check this out. 2 female agents. They were assigned to protect former President Barack Obama. They ended up fighting one another at 2:30 in the morning. This is a week ago today, May 21st. They're now suspended. Audio recordings of the alleged fight there has one female agent on her radio declaring that she needs a supervisor to come to her immediately before, quote, and this is her quote, before I whoop this girl's ass. It's not clear what prompted the fight. And as if we didn't have enough to worry about, enter the screwworm. You like how we go from making love before going to sleep to the screwworm? There's a theme here. So what's a screwworm? What you just saw on your screen, that fly is called a screwworm. It's a parasitic fly that lays its eggs by burrowing into the skin of a living animal and leaving them there to feast on the animal's blood until the eggs become flies and burst out alive. We pushed back infestations of the screwworm in the early 1900s and again in the 1950s as the deadly flies made their way north from Panama through Mexico into Texas. It looks like they're making a comeback because the Panamanian and Mexican governments did nothing to keep them from spreading. As a result, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has now suspended live animal imports from Mexico. If the fly reaches Texas this time, that means it could threaten the $15 billion cattle industry. Texas is currently home to over 12 million heads of cattle. 8:17 and 60 degrees, cloudy this morning, showers developing by afternoon, although in the southern part of the state it's been raining all morning. Highs today in the mid-60s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we will take your calls. 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It's 8:18 and 60 degrees. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Clouds this morning. Showers in the southern part of the state already. They will develop in the northern part by afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Those showers in northern New Jersey crossing the Delaware as we speak. So western sections of the state, like over toward Warren County, back over by Flemington, picking up on that rain later on this morning. As far as currently, it's much cooler where that rain has been falling right now in the mid-50s, but warming into the mid-60s from Hackensack and Newark with your dry start to the day, but doesn't stay dry. Notice it's a little bit cooler where that rain is falling by about 5 or 6 degrees. We're warmed up to about 4 degrees degrees warmer than this time yesterday in the northern sections of the state. And of course, the humidity will keep rising as that rain falls. Visibility down to 5 miles right now in Millville. Good visibility elsewhere as the clouds take over, but you'll notice a little bit of a breeze picking up by the end of the day, specifically blowing from the east this afternoon. That'll keep the coastal locations quite cool, only in the upper 50s and low 60s before the wind switches direction tomorrow and actually tries to clear out some of the clouds in southern New Jersey, bringing back a generally dry day on Thursday. Even though it won't be completely sunny, we could see some sunny breaks in southern New Jersey by the end of tomorrow. As far as today, it's all about the rain. The wet weather getting going right now south of 195. The clouds hanging low pretty much in northern New Jersey, and already picked up 3/4 of an inch of rain so far today in Millville. So it's coming down, and it's staying wet through the better part of this afternoon. The shades of yellow and orange showing that steady rain lasting through the end of the day, and of course the light green showing the light rain in northern New Jersey throughout tonight. Tomorrow morning starts wet, but eventually turns just cloudy by the afternoon, and the afternoon may also bring some breaks of sun into the end of the day, which helps us to warm up a little bit and also allows us to dry out briefly before more rain comes in for Friday, and that rain likely lingers for the Friday morning rush and returns in the afternoon in some patchy downpours with some thunderstorms. Then we go into Friday night, and it's not the news you want to hear, but I think we start off Saturday pretty wet, especially early in the morning, rain taking over, lasting through most of the morning hours, a southerly breeze keeping us a little bit cooler, and also bringing back the rain threat throughout the end of the day. So it's not exactly clear. We could see some breaks of sun by the end of the day, but it looks to be a pretty wet start to the weekend. Good news is it dries out just in time for Sunday with pleasant weather, sunny and 70s on the way for the second half of the weekend. We'll detail that coming up with a check of your weekend forecast, Ken, in just a few minutes.
You know, it's so rare somebody looks at me and says the word pleasant. So I love when you do that, Mike. Thank you very, very much.
You bet.
You can tell I've had a very sad and abusive childhood, as you can tell, but nonetheless. All right, sir. We'll check back. Thank you. I'm kidding. I love my folks and they're good to me. All right, there we go. So I say. It is 60 degrees now at 8:21. Checking some traffic. This is an interesting little cam here. This is Garden State Parkway, mile marker 147.0, exit 145, the Sussex Avenue overpass. And this area right here is in East Orange. You can see that's the exit for 280. Normally, you have people jamming over to the right to get off. You have a few going there right now. It's interesting to see delays to the left. And the difference is the right goes in toward Newark and the left goes toward East Orange. And so a lot of folks headed to East Orange right now, not toward Newark at this hour of the morning. Kind of interesting. 8:21 right now. We do have some other traffic to talk about. There's a crash on the GSP northbound south of exit 160 Paramus Road, Route 208 Saddlebrook Township with the right lane blocked, and the New Jersey Turnpike inner roadway southbound at interchange 7, Route 206 in Bordentown Township. The right shoulder is blocked with EMS activity. We have the Garden State Parkway northbound south of Great Egg Toll Plaza in Upper Township. All lanes are open, but vehicles jammed over to the right shoulder. And roving repairs on Route 130 northbound, Cooper Street, Willingboro Township, north of Florence Columbus Road in Mansfield Township. 2 right lanes of the 3 lanes are blocked. Currently on 8095 approach to the GWB, we have traffic kind of heavy, especially on the left there. That's the lower level, moving a little more slowly than the upper level on the right. It's about a 45-minute crossover time into Manhattan, 35 at the Lincoln, 30 at the Holland. 8:22 is our time, and the inaugural Montclair Dance Festival is set to dazzle on May 31st at the Kasser Theater, featuring the Nini Chen Dance Company's mesmerizing performance of Shapes of Water. This evocative piece, set to Pat Metheny's You're Young, performed by the Trio, captures the ghostly flow of city nightlife. We're joined by Andy Cheng, who is the executive director of the company, to share insights of this cultural celebration. Andy, it's nice to have you with us. And we are so blessed that we have a community like Montclair that is so rich in the arts. Tell us about the inspiration behind Shapes of Water and how it reflects Nini Chen Dance Company's cross-cultural vision.
Thank you, Ken. Really happy to be here and an honor to speak with you. The festival is opening this weekend, and I would like to tell you that it consists of many great companies. The New Jersey Ballet will be here, the Roxy Ballet, and Carolyn Dorfman, Nimbus, and of course it's really the festival is created by Free Space Dance, a Montclair-based wonderful dance company that created this festival. The Shapes of Water is the piece we're showing, and it is a beautiful, beautiful piece, and was originally from the ONNJ Trio, which is a Sony recorded platinum classical artists, and they actually work with Pat Metheny, who visited Seoul, Korea, and he saw the flow of the traffic at night, and he was inspired to create this beautiful music that the ONNJ Trio brought to Nai Chen, who our choreographer, and she was very inspired and created this wonderful piece. And it flows like water, as one would say, and a beautiful piece that I believe the audience will enjoy very, very deeply.
I was curious what the connection to Pat Metheny was, because I'm a big jazz fan. I love Pat Metheny, amazing
Yeah,
jazz artist, and what the connection was. But now I didn't realize he had gone to South Korea. That's fascinating.
absolutely. He's loved all over the world, and this particular piece of music incorporates, a lot of the cultures actually of the Korean people, and it inspired Naini to actually incorporate dance movements from Mongolia, which actually the Koreans can trace as their ancestor to Korea. And so there's a lot of different interesting cultural connections here.
That's amazing. Now you
Yeah,
talk about Naini and the performance,
yeah.
and how important is it that the legacy of Naini Chen continues through a
Yes,
performance
as you
like this?
know,
Because we're talking
Naini,
about historic, right?
as you know, Naini is um, uh, one of the most significant choreographer lately in New Jersey, and she passed away in an accident in 2021, and she has created over 90 pieces in New Jersey, and a lot of it is really dealing with the cross-cultural her experiences here in America. So it signifies what the contribution that Asian American can make in America, in our culture that we're creating together.
Yeah, you cannot discount in any way the amazing contributions of Asian Americans to our entire culture, but specifically in pockets of America like the Pacific Northwest, the Southwest, and the Northeast. I mean, our area is so blessed because of the richness of all the different Asian American cultures that are here. It's just, you
Yes.
take for granted. I lived in South Florida for a while. You get a pocket of like Japanese Americans in Palm Beach County. And outside of that, there isn't a big Asian American representation. When I lived there, I felt the absence. You can feel it, but then you come back to the Northeast and you feel the richness of the history. And it's such an essential part of our culture and our history here.
Yes, and I always say we come here to meet each other, to understand each other's culture and create something richer. And that's what America really is symbolizes to the rest of the world, is that we can bring the best here and create a new and greater culture here in America, and we can call it home, and because
And
we
we
create
have,
with each other.
I'm sorry to step on you, sir. And we have the blessing in this area in Montclair, which is so rich in the arts because of its location, where it's near the university, it's near New York City. So, but it represents the sort of epicenter of arts for the state of New Jersey. It's such a treasure to have Montclair. And the inaugural Montclair Dance Festival, again, it's set to dazzle May 31st, just a few days away at the Kasser Theater. And give us a website, Andy, if you will, for people to get more information.
Oh, I think. Oh,
I'll help you out. I'll look. You
I'm a
keep
little
talking. Tell
after.
me
I think
more.
you
I'll
guys
look
can
it up
post
for
that
you.
later. Yeah.
I'll look it up. You
Yeah.
tell us
Sorry
what
about
other acts we could find, and I'll look it up for you.
that.
What other
Sure.
acts are going to be?
As I mentioned, the it's at the Kessler Theater, and the dance company that will be there will be New Jersey Ballet, the Umuja Dance Company, which is a very dynamic African dance company, terrific beats and rhythms. Carolyn Dorman Company, a very dynamic dance company. Nimbus, who based in Jersey City, is also a beautiful dance company. Roxy Ballet is again from the central part of New Jersey, and western, I should say. And they've been there for many years and has been all over the world. A wonderful company. Most of the dance company and Free Space Dance, of course, based in Montclair, is also another one.
And I found the website, by the way. It's montclairdancefestival.com. montclairdancefestival.com.
Yes.
And it has
Sorry,
all the
okay.
information. No, it's okay, Andy. I should have, you know what? Usually I have it set next to me when I ask somebody for the website just in case, and I didn't. It's my own fault. So I have it here now, and it's a great website. So everyone check out this treasure. And by the way, explore Montclair afterward. Montclair has the foods of every culture of the world represented right there. What an amazing town. It's such a great place. So it's the inaugural Montclair Dance Festival. It's May 31st, just 3 days away at the Kasser Theater. Andy Chang, Executive Director of the Nainit Chen Dance Company. I thank you so much for joining us this morning. Please come back anytime. You're a treasure yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I really appreciate you helping us to bring the festival to New Jersey, and look forward to talk to you again.
Well, please do come back. We're blessed to have you. Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. It's 8:30 and the phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says clouds this morning. Showers already in the southern part of the state, developing in the north. In fact, they're headed our way right now. Highs in the mid-60s. The full Garden State forecast in just a minute. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings, and we're coming right back. Very good morning, 8:31 now on Wednesday, May 28th, 2025, 62 degrees. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. Clouds this morning, showers by afternoon, although parts of the state already have them. Highs in the mid-60s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. I wanted to show you a really cool feature here coming up on live radar. So at 8:31, you see there might be some rain along Route 22 right over there along the Watchung Mountain Range. No, that's actually the beam this time of day, just bending down a little bit and hitting the mountain range, coming back with a little bit of a return that shows up as green, which in most cases would mean rain. Not the case this morning. So a little fancy radar trick there. There's the radar over out by Manchester Township, by Lakehurst. Well, as it scans the skies, it sees all that rain right now in southern New Jersey, and that wet weather sticks around for the rest of the day, even with the future radar showing the showers moving into northern New Jersey by this afternoon. Pretty steady rains right now in southern New Jersey, and that's been going on all morning. The forecast today keeps our rain in the picture right through the end of today, even in through tonight, and temperatures hold in the 60s. With the pollen levels slightly lower today, it's still at the moderate stage, even for weeds and grasses, as tree pollen season is pretty much over. Now that we're entering June, we'll start to see the levels rise for grasses and weeds, which is usually the case going into the beginning of summer. Forecast rainfall totals through Friday put most of the rain across central and southern New Jersey, maybe as much as 2 to 4 inches there where it's yellow. We've almost had an inch of rainfall just today alone down toward Millville, so it's piling up quick there. However, the northern sections of New Jersey still tapping into a bit of that wet weather through the next several days. Look at all the rain that's yet to come. It goes right down the East Coast, and that's the rainfall that sticks around today, returns tomorrow night, and even goes into the first part of our day on Saturday. Moderate levels of UV today. Not going to see much sun, even though the sun is trying to break through the clouds. I think we get a better shot of that sun tomorrow. But first, the wet weather today, and it stays rainy throughout this afternoon and tonight. The futurecast shows it best with the heavier downpours at times shown up in yellow right through this evening. Tomorrow morning, a little wet at the start, but we actually dry out for a good portion of the afternoon. Breaks of sun, we could get up into the 80s over toward Toms River and Trenton, even the upper 70s in Newark and Hackensack. but all of that sunshine usually tends to lead to another round of storms, which will be the case that arrive for Friday. Friday's another wet day with on and off showers and storms in through the afternoon, and then Saturday likely keeps that wet weather around as well. Look at how the rain continues right through Friday night into Saturday morning, on and off spotty showers going in through our morning on Saturday, and even into the afternoon. Not a whole lot of sunshine returning for the first half of the weekend. Have to wait until Sunday to break out into that beautiful clear sky. And it looks great for Sunday, nice and pleasant. Monday looks pleasant as well until we get to the end of next week where the clouds, I think, start to return. So going forward, this weekend looks pretty pleasant as far as the Sunday picture. Saturday, pretty cloudy, little rainy, not doing so great in terms of a beach weekend in total. But I think Sunday we'll start to see some clearing by the end of the weekend. It looks pretty by then. Nice way to wrap up the last weekend in May, Ken. Kicking off June on a sunny and dry note.
Here we go. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. The time is now 8:35, 62 degrees. And we've been talking about a crash that was on the Garden State Parkway northbound, south of exit 160, Paramus Road to Route 208 in Saddlebrook Township with a right lane blocked. Take a look at the results. There you go. So this is by the Bergen Toll Plaza, which is right by that exit. And that's what the result is. Usually there is no traffic here, or not no, but light traffic at this hour of the morning. And you could see that cars are moving very slowly through there because of that crash. Again, this is by exit 160, which is Rochelle Park, Passaic Street, by the Bergen Toll Plaza, Saddlebrook area. So people who know that area, you know that normally it flows a little faster than that at this time. We also now have, let's say, if we can, go to the GWB cam at some point, if we can. I know it takes a minute to switch over cameras. But there's a crash on the George Washington Bridge reported now on the upper level, eastbound at exit 1A, Henry Hudson Parkway, and that's now causing the delay. So the upper level's on the right, lower level's on the left. And you can see how much more slowly the upper level is now moving. And that's because once you get across the bridge to the Henry Hudson Parkway exits, there is a crash. And that's why the lower level is preferred. So if you have to take the GWB right now, stay on the left there. Well, it's on your right as you're driving. It's on the left of the screen. And you on the shoulder, stop doing the shoulder thing. You're going to get stopped by the police and you're going to get a big ticket with points. Do not do that unless you are an emergency vehicle or you have a breakdown. 8:36 right now. We also have a crash on the GSP northbound south of Great Egg Toll Plaza in Upper Township. All lanes open, but there are vehicles on the right shoulder. And roving repairs on Route 130 northbound from Cooper Street in Willingboro Township to Florence Columbus Road in Mansfield Township with 2 lanes closed on the left side. Delays on the GSP northbound south of exit 149 to north of exit 151. It's about a 2.5-mile delay due to volume. And let's take a look, if we can, at our I-80 east and westbound camera, if we have that. Not bad at all. Well, what is that, Pam? Uh-huh. So the little peck. So that's eastbound. All right. I'm sorry. I'm having a conversation with, thank you, Pam. See, Pam, our director, knows that area like the back of her hand. So when the cameras change, she knows what's going on, not me. And I appreciate Pam at all times. So that's the eastbound. They opened up a couple of eastbound lanes. So you see that flowing on the right side. The westbound hasn't opened up yet. That's supposedly going to open in the next few days, 1 or 2 lanes. And then by the end of June, they tell us that both sides, all lanes will be open at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. And then this nightmare of sinkholes will be behind us. 8:37, a tragic incident in Tobyhanna Township, Pennsylvania, where 40-year-old New Jersey man, Bibin Michael, was found dead Sunday afternoon after a water-related accident. Pocono Mountain Regional Police responded to a call at Sir Bradford Road where 2 adults had fallen into a lake after their kayak flipped due to strong winds. Well, Michael very heroically jumped in to rescue those 2 people, but then he submerged halfway to the kayak and he never resurfaced. A police diver recovered his body and the cause of death is under investigation. But sadly, he gave his life to rescue other people. Rest in peace, sir. Thank you for your braveness, for doing what you did, and sadness for his family. 8:38 now. Jackson, New Jersey mourns the loss of Councilman Scott Sargent, who passed away unexpectedly May 23rd at age 61 due to chronic health issues. He was elected in 2022 alongside Mayor Michael Rena. Sargent previously served a decade on the Jackson Board of Education. Known for his dedication to the community, he worked as a senior groundskeeper in Public Works. Assemblyman Alex Sawicki praised his many accomplishments. The council will appoint an interim successor with a special election set for November 2025 to fill the remainder of his term. 8:39, good news and bad news for Newark Airport. Aviation officials reported few significant delays at the airport over Memorial Day weekend, but travel through the international jetport dropped 10% year to year due to a mandatorily reduced number of takeoffs and landings per hour. The flight decrease appears to have helped Newark rebound following a series of travel issues, including numerous flight delays and cancellations that have occurred in recent weeks. 8:39, a horrific crash yesterday at the Middletown post office sent people running for their lives. It happened just after 2. Police say the driver of a white-colored car hit the gas instead of the brake and crashed right through the front door of the building. Police say customers were inside the post office at the time. They ran for safety as they heard the loud boom. Amazingly, nobody got hurt. Police now are looking into the specific cause. And while cases of measles continue to spread throughout the U.S., the state of Hawaii is now seeing a spike in whooping cough. The disease, formerly called pertussis, is on the rise at a worrying rate. As of May 15th, there have been 108 cases of pertussis reported, already exceeding the 84 total cases in all of 2024. We're only not even halfway through 2025. Symptoms often resemble a cold but can progress to intense coughing fits. Complications can include pneumonia, seizures, apnea, encephalopathy, and death. Ask your doctor if you might need a pertussis vaccine, especially if you are traveling to Hawaii. And the FBI has reopened the probe into the bag of cocaine discovered by Secret Service agents in the White House under President Biden in 2023. The Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, confirmed that probe has been reopened in the interest of exposing public corruption. Bongino said that the cocaine case would be reopened along with the leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs decision prior to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. It was back in July of 2023 that the Secret Service announced agents had discovered that cocaine near the entrance to the White House's West Wing. They said they were unable to determine the owner's identity in spite of the fact that they have dozens of security cameras there on at all times. The Capitol Police and Secret Service agents are present at all times, but yet nobody could figure out how that bag of cocaine, which was like that big, it wasn't tiny, how that bag of cocaine ended up there. Many have speculated the cocaine could have belonged to Joe Biden's son Hunter because he is self-admittedly a drug addict, a cocaine addict, and they're wondering if, because he was present in the White House those days, if it might have been his. 8:41, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's attempt to freeze federal funds to New York over its congestion pricing program. Judge Louis Lyman, a left-wing political hack, issued this restraining order on Tuesday, preventing the government from withholding transportation funds or rescinding approvals for the program until at least June 9th. The MTA sued U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who claimed the $9 tolls for cars entering Manhattan exceeds federal authority and prioritizes revenue over congestion reduction. Tolls are set to rise to $12 in 2028 and $15 in 2031, and you could expect it to go to $20 and $25 and $30 in the years to follow. A separate New Jersey lawsuit against the program is ongoing. But think about it. Any time in history a toll has been introduced, it has never been cut back or eliminated. So the fact that we are letting Manhattan get away with this slime means we are just asking for trouble. And you could thank your friends, the Democrats, for this. Keep voting D in the voting booth and you will keep getting this kind of nonsense at every opportunity. 8:43, if you'd like to sleep better, make love before closing your eyes, either with a partner or with yourself. That's what it says. That is according to a new pilot study published in the journal Sleep Health. The research found that both partnered sex and self-pleasure reduced the amount of time people spent awake during the night and improved overall sleep efficiency. And don't we all need better overall sleep efficiency? Coming up on 8:44, meteorologist Mike Favetta says we'll have clouds this morning, showers developing by afternoon, although we currently have showers in the southern part of the state and the western part, headed to the northeast right now. Highs today in the mid-60s. And we will come back with the full Garden State forecast in just a minute. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings live. We're on ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And we now stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We're coming right back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings at 8:46, 63 degrees. I'm Ken Rosato. It is Wednesday. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Clouds this morning. Showers are in the southern part of the state and the extreme northwestern part, but the whole state will be showery by afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the full Garden State forecast for the end of the morning. Good morning, sir.
Hey there, Ken. Yeah, showery indeed. It'll be wet throughout the day. So even though it may not be raining at this moment across northern New Jersey, there's more rain that comes through by the end of the day, with rain that lasts pretty much on and off through Saturday. The other day we get some dry breaks are tomorrow with sunshine returning by Sunday, and then it turns nice and warm next week. So looking drier, looking better as we progress through the next several days, especially the second half of this weekend. Most of the rain right now falling across central and southern New Jersey. Even northern New Jersey will see that rain momentarily as it's been working its way through for the last several hours. You see the future radar puts it through by around 11 noon time frame and then takes over across the northeastern corner of the state later on today. So southern New Jersey has that rain and has been raining even before daybreak, and now that continues through the rest of this afternoon. As far as today with our sun setting at 8:19, we don't really get that pretty sunset thanks to all of the wet weather that's around. A lot more rain to come, especially as we head into the next several days. So tomorrow dries out a little bit. We actually get some sun by the afternoon, but look at how Friday sees some late afternoon showers, decreasing the overall range to about 30%. Saturday, though, shoots up, back up at 70% by the afternoon. And then I think Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday see a nice dry trend that keeps us looking good. Air quality is great today, no concerns there, but throughout the afternoon, the rain continues with some heavier downpours at times, specifically in southern New Jersey. Tomorrow, after the front passes through, we'll start to see some afternoon clearing, get a break of some dry weather. Maybe a little bit of sun helping us warm, and then another round of wet weather with our next system comes in for Friday and Saturday. Doesn't completely clear out. Look at that Sunday morning. Still have some showers around in southern New Jersey, but I think that ultimately passes through and brings back clearing for the end of the weekend. So Saturday, it's a dud. Looking pretty wet and gray. Even some storms in there. I think we'll be impressed at the amount of sun that comes in tomorrow afternoon, though. So that's a nice change. And then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday looking nice nice and dry and pleasant with warming weather. Same for you at the coast tomorrow. I think there is some more sun at the shore tomorrow afternoon with temperatures warming into the mid-70s. Friday and Saturday both wet, but Sunday clears out, specifically in the afternoon, and we see that nice warm trend can take us into next week. 70s in June with sunshine. It'll feel fantastic.
We like fantastic. That's a good thing. All right, Mike, enjoy your day, sir. Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.
It is 60. Thank you. You bet. 63 degrees at 8:49. We do have traffic to talk about. In fact, once again, let's show a mile marker 160.4, the Bergen Toll Plaza on the Garden State Parkway. The reason for this slow go through the toll plaza is there is a crash on the Garden State Parkway just beyond this. It's south of exit 160 Paramus Road, and it stretches, causing delays to Saddlebrook Township. The right lane is blocked, and that's causing these residual delays here. That's why we have that. We have another crash on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of Great Egg Toll Plaza in Upper Township. All lanes are open, but vehicles are on the right shoulder. Roving repairs on Route 130 northbound from Cooper Street in Willingboro Township to north of Florence Columbus Road in Mansfield Township. 2 left lanes are closed. We have a crash on the GWB upper level eastbound on the New York side in Manhattan. And that's causing this, the 8095 approach to the GWB. You could see especially the upper level on the right, very slow as you make your way over. So now the upper level is about 55 minutes in, the lower levels 45 to 50. We have delays now in the Lincoln Tunnel, about 35 minutes to cross and 30 minutes at the Holland. 8:50 is our time. U.S. consumer confidence surged in May. People are now believing the economy will do better. In fact, the consumer confidence ranking rose 12.3 points to 98. That's according to the Conference Board, boosted by a U.S.-China deal lowering tariffs on Chinese imports from 145% down to 30%. The rebound seen across all ages and incomes. Everybody is looking optimistically at the future of our economy, driven by optimism about future business, jobs, and income. However, concerns are lingering over the tariffs raising prices and hurting the economy, with inflation expectations dipping to 6.5%. Consumers are saving more, with over a third setting aside money for future spending. 8:51, in a major policy shift, the federal government has removed COVID-19 vaccines from the CDC's recommended immunization schedule for healthy pregnant women and children. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced the decision, stating it aligns with President Trump's goal to make America healthy again.
Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
Critics, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, a relatively small, very left-wing group of doctors, by the way, warn this could confuse parents and reduce choices, especially since pregnant women and newborns remain at high risk for COVID complications. But the fact is, young, healthy people simply do not get COVID. And if they do get COVID, the few that have, they've been perfectly fine. So you have to weigh the risk, the complications, the heart swelling issues that we've had among young people who've had the vaccine versus young people who did not. And the idea that young people, the few who have gotten COVID, tend to recover just fine. It's not even a bad cold for them. So do you want to introduce a foreign vaccine into the body of a young person when they may not need it? That's the question. 8:52, President Trump announced that he will pardon reality TV stars Todd and Julie Crisley, convicted in 2022 of tax evasion and bank fraud. The Crisley Knows Best couple was sentenced to 12 and 7 years respectively in prison for defrauding banks of over $36 million and the IRS. Trump spoke to their daughter, Savannah Crisley, and said he hopes to grant the pardon by today.
That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing, but it's a great thing because your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life.
Savannah has been actively lobbying for her parents' release, including speaking at the Republican National Convention. It's 8:53. Good news and bad news for Newark Airport. Aviation officials reported few significant delays at the airport over Memorial Day weekend, but Travel through the international jet port dropped 10% year to year due to a mandatorily reduced number of takeoffs and landings every hour. The flight decrease appears to have helped Newark rebound following a series of travel issues, including numerous flight delays and cancellations in recent weeks. 8:53, while cases of measles continue to spread throughout the U.S., Hawaii is now seeing a spike in whooping cough. The disease, formerly called pertussis, is on the rise at a worrying rate. As of May 15th, there have been 108 cases of pertussis reported, already exceeding the 84 total cases in 2024. Symptoms often resemble a cold, but can progress to intense coughing fits. Complications can include pneumonia, seizures, apnea, encephalopathy, and death. You should ask your doctor if you might need a pertussis vaccine, especially if you plan on traveling to Hawaii. The FBI has reopened the probe into the bag of cocaine discovered by Secret Service agents in the White House under President Biden. This happened in 2023. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino confirmed the probe had been reopened in the interest of exposing public corruption. Bongino said the cocaine case would be introduced along with the leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs decision prior to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. It was back in July of 2023, the Secret Service announced that agents discovered that bag of cocaine. It wasn't a little one either. It was near the entrance to the White House's West Wing. That's where the president's family hangs out. Hint, hint, think about that. They said somehow they were unable to figure out who owned that bag of cocaine, in spite of the fact it's the most secure place on the planet, with dozens of security cameras on at all times, Capitol Police and Secret Service agents being present all over the location. But whoopsie, we can't figure out how about a $100,000 sack of cocaine that big, large enough that major drug dealers couldn't even afford it, how it managed to get into the White House. Just can't figure it out. Many have speculated the cocaine could have belonged to Joe Biden's son Hunter due to his known history of drug addiction. 8:55, a horrible crash yesterday at the Middletown post office sent people running for their lives. Just past 2 o'clock, police say the driver of a white-colored car hit the gas instead of the brake and crashed right through the front door of the building. Police say customers were inside the post office at the time. They ran for safety as they heard the big boom. Amazingly, nobody was hurt. Police are now investigating. And Pam, our director's favorite story of the morning. If you want to sleep better, make whoopee before closing your eyes. That according to a very expensive pilot study published in the journal Sleep Health. The research found that both partnered sex and self-pleasure reduced the amount of time that people spent awake during the night and improved overall sleep efficiency. And finally, a couple of Secret Service agents are in hot water after they were caught on. And by the way, we noticed we didn't have any video to accompany the make love story. A couple of Secret Service agents are in hot water because of surveillance video showing them duking it out. The agents were assigned to protect former President Barack Obama. This was a week ago. It ended up showing them fighting. They fought one another 2:30 in the morning, May 21st. That is 1 week ago today. They're now suspended. An audio recording allegedly has one of those two female agents on her radio declaring that she needs a supervisor to come to her immediately before, quote, this is what she said, before I whoop this girl's ass. It's not clear what prompted the fight, but I would love to find out. And as if we didn't have enough to worry about, enter the screwworm. What's a screwworm? It's a parasitic fly that lays its eggs by burrowing into the skin of a living animal. It then releases its larvae, and eventually the larvae grow into flies under the skin of the animal after drinking the animal's blood and then ripped through the skin. Kind of disgusting, but that's life. And you could thank Panama and Mexico for not doing anything to keep the screwworm eradicated like we did in the United States. Kind of gross. 8:57, meteorologist Mike Favetta says clouds this morning, showers through the day throughout New Jersey, highs in the mid-60s. And that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday, May 28th. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you could stream us at ONNJ.com and 10 other platforms. Till tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., have a wonderful day.